Welcome back to Paranormal Perspective. I'm John Lordan, and joining me as always,
Christy Yarnhart.
This is the show where Christy looks into a topic, tries to convince me that the paranormal is real, tries to pull me back from the brinks of skepticism. She's done a pretty good job. We've actually had a few episodes here where I'd say she's pulling me away. She's pulling me back towards there is something else going on out there. What are we talking?
Slowly chipping away.
Slowly. It's been a long conversation that's been going on for quite a while now. What is today's topic, Christy?
Today's topic is werewolves.
Werewolves. Ooh. I like that.
It's with an old favorite.
Yeah, and it's a big, wide topic. As always, we are filming this with a live audience. We're going to put a question to them. What's the question for them, Christy?
Do you believe werewolves are real?
Are werewolves real?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll go ahead and wait to drop that after you start presenting some of your information. Let's do it.
All right. Now, according to Wikipedia, a werewolf is an individual who can shapeshift into a wolf, either purposefully or after being placed under a curse or affliction. Or an affliction. That's which usually you get scratched, you get bit by a werewolf, and then you turn. Okay. These transformations, of course, occur on the full moon, although more modern sources will say that, they can change at will at any time. In the crazy romance shifter books that I read all the time, yes, they can change whenever they want to. But those are my fantasy books. So.
Oh, I was going to say, no, is that the encyclopedia, or is that a documentary? Is that real facts that you're reading in the shape-shifting books?
No, they're not. There is nothing real. Well, they weave in mythology and stuff like that to make it interesting. Okay. But it's just all a bunch of crap.
I'm curious about this because I haven't looked at this Wikipedia entry. Is the Wikipedia entry writing about it from a fictionalized standpoint, or are they writing about it? Okay.
No, the werewolf myths have been around for thousands of years. They even appear in the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that's a very old one. I can't remember exactly how old, but werewolves are one of those core scary creatures that exist in every culture, like werewolves, witches. I know a lot of these legends speak toward, you're going to become a werewolf if you're a bad person, if you commit heinous deeds. And I guess it also makes you even more wary of what's in the woods out there, too. So it could have served a couple of different things there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't matter what culture. They exist in one form. You've got the lycanthropes of Greece. And that was a really good one. Its most famous was the king of Arcadia. His name was Lycaon. Now, he killed and cooked one of his sons for the god Zeus. He wanted to see if Zeus was actually all-knowing, like he was supposed to be, and would know that this is human flesh. Well, of course, he did know that it was. So to punish him, he killed his other sons, brought the son he had killed back to life, and turned Lycaon into a wolf. And he was cursed to spend the rest of his days that way. So that one was kind of disgusting.
Is that
but
this
even
one?
In even in Nordic culture, there's a story of a father and a son, and one day they discover 2 wolf pelts. And when they put the wolf pelts on, they discover that they can turn into a wolf for 10 days. So, of course, they put the pelts on and went on a killing spree, because I guess that's everybody's first thought, if they can be a wolf. That story did not end well for them, as you can guess. The father tried to kill the son, and it just got really bad. The Vikings had a lot of respect for wolves. And the most famous wolf is Fenrir, which is the son of Loki and the giantess Angerboda.
Okay.
Loki had all kinds of funky creatures for children. But you go a little further into the 1700s, and you've got the beast of Gévaudan in France. Now, this creature was said to look like a wolf, but not. Its tail was longer than it should have been. It was way bigger than it should have been. And at first, it started to attack livestock. livestock run it off, and then it started attacking the shepherds who were out there watching over their livestock. It didn't kill and eat these people or even drag them off. It attacked their head and neck until they were dead.
Now, is that still talking about like in the form of a human, or is that just talking about like it was just a wolf that was just bigger than a wolf? Like, is it walking on its hind legs?
There's actually a drawing that you can pull up of it. They did not look human at all.
Okay.
They were larger than other wolves, and they looked slightly different, but they were actual wolves. What you see in today's movies, where you've got all these partially shifted people and, guys who can turn into one at will, and they've got those funky bent back legs that they walk around on, that's just Hollywood.
Is it this one? Is this the picture you were talking about?
That is the beast. Yeah. And even in the illustration, it shows, attacking the head. And it was grown-ups, it was children. There really was no rhyme or reason, just whoever was out there alone. And it got so bad that the French government became involved. And they sent hunters out. What they ended up with were several large, that's fin rear, by the way. What ended up happening is the hunters went out, killed some wolves, brought them back, and said, "This is it."
So that was like them trying to say that they got them, but they were just regular wolves that they brought back?
Well, they didn't, say they couldn't find them. They proclaimed, "This is, the beast of Gévaudan, and we've killed it, and now here it is." Now, eventually, even after that, the attack stopped. But these wolves didn't even look like what people were describing. They were just normal wolves. Okay. One of them was actually a hybrid of some type of dog. And it was a pup, and they ended up killing it. In my mind, they didn't kill anything.
Okay.
I think something else was still lurking out there. It just went somewhere else.
Yeah.
But and that's from Gilgamesh as well. So whether you transform because of a curse, a bite, a magical sash, a cream that you wipe all over yourself, or a pelt, you're a werewolf, They even had werewolf trials, just like they did the witch trials, that took place at about the same time, which is why you don't hear much about it. People mostly focus on how horrible the witch trials were, but there were lots of people who were accused of being loup-garou, which are werewolves, and they were burned at the stake too. Mm. So that's awful.
Yeah, there was something about werewolves for me that, like when I was a kid and just being exposed to media about them, one of the things that was most terrifying was this thought that you weren't in control of yourself. That midnight would come or the full moon would come, and all of a sudden you would turn into this monster and do something terrible, like eat a person or something like that. And then, then you would change back, but you were still responsible for what you had done as a monster. And in a way, I almost kind of line it up with like substance abuse or something like that. Like, like doing something when you're really screwed up and like, oh, that wasn't me being normal. But I just remember as a child just being exposed to that mentality. It was like, wow, that's a really scary prospect that I could do something. Yeah, that I would do something so awful and hurt someone just being out of control, like just not being in control of myself.
See, I never really got into werewolves when I was a kid. I was all vampires. All vampires.
Yeah, no, I was more werewolf. I actually have a werewolf toy up on the mantle over there.
I know, my husband loves them too.
Yeah. I was always about werewolves.
Now, if we switch gears here away from the old accounts, take into consideration how we think of it today. Now, as human beings, the moon affects all of us in some way or another. My grandmother, for years, worked in a psych ward at our local hospital, and she said the worst night of the year to work was on the full moon nights. She said everyone acted crazy. It got violent. It was the weirdest thing she had ever saw. She hated working those nights. And History.com says that according to a study conducted at Australia's Calvary Mater Newcastle Hospital, a full moon brings out the beast in many humans. The study found that of the 91 violent acute behavior incidents at the hospital between August of 2008 and July of 2009, 23% happened during the full moon. Patients attacked staff. They displayed wolf-like behavior. They bit, they spit, they scratched. It's unclear what effect the moon's having, but it is having an effect.
Yeah.
Which leads you into someone, because you have nowadays, if you think, is it still, what is it called today in psychiatric terms? Is it lycanthropy?
I'm
if
not
you
sure.
think that you're a werewolf, because these people will actually think they're turning into a werewolf.
Okay.
They will feel it. They will imagine it, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a very interesting argument, because I think most people have experienced that, and kind of like, even ourselves, like every now and then just like feeling off and stuff. But everyone, I think, has some form of belief around, oh, it must be a full moon. I mean, that's why that statement exists, right? It's like, oh, it must be a full moon. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Even people talking about don't stare at the moon too long or you'll have moon madness. I've heard that one too. But even though psychiatry has tried to explain this away, we still have constant reports of werewolf sightings all over the world. And in 2003, there was one in Argentina. And let me tell you, they have werewolf sightings everywhere. They say that they have filmed a werewolf here. So in the middle of this page is a link that you can play.
Well, here's a photo of something. Okay.
A big blur.
It's a little blurry. Okay. This looks promising. Okay.
You can see something walk across the road.
Yeah.
It's on all fours, and it's the way the way its undercarriage is shaped is weird.
That is, yeah, I see what you're saying. Maybe it's what was the thing from last week's episode?
A Brazilian wolf.
A Brazilian wolf, maybe.
Oh my gosh, if they've got that many running around, I got to go get one.
This isn't far from Brazil. This is Argentina.
That's true.
I wonder.
They do. They see a lot of werewolves.
In Argentina?
You get reports all the time.
Yeah, now I'm curious about, they're saying maned wolf. That's not, or maned wolf, not manned. I thought it was Brazilian. Isn't that right? Wasn't it Brazilian wolves? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
They're in northern Argentina, yeah. Brazil, Bolivia.
Yeah. We're in the right part of the world for that. Okay. Interesting.
Maybe their werewolves turn into Brazilian wolves because they're in a different part of the world. That would be neat.
That's true. That's part of this that makes this a little bit tougher, is that there's actually a transformation that's happening, and that could be varying, right? Like,
we would think.
And in kind of popular culture, you think of a werewolf transformation that's still kind of got a humanoid form in some way. But what if they change all the way to and chew on your head? Apparently this is really disturbing.
Well, in my romance novels, they do turn into a full-on wolf.
Yeah. Okay, well, if it's in romance novels, then it has to be true.
It has to be true, right?
All right, so you got some proof here. What's this one?
This is found footage. It's a found footage reel.
Oh no!
That they claim shows a werewolf, and it is weird. I mean, I'll give you that.
Okay, Seven-Eyed Lamb is the name of this account. Oh goodness! The stories always ruin it for me.
Mute it.
That's true. I should, but it's too late now. Yeah. Oh. Found footage. That no.
Mm-hmm. What? It'll move.
Um These are not the same cameras. Like all this stuff has been strung together with footage from completely different sources. Like this whole story is BS. Like this is I could go and grab a bunch of different clips and put together something like, but I mean, there has been no attempt made to like color grade these things to make them try to look the same. Like these are just obviously different cameras and different sources. Look, like this one is completely different. And this takes place in olden times because watch this old truck that's in there. Look, this is just...
Is there snow out there anymore?
Yeah, this is footage. I think this is footage of a primate. And I think it's very old footage. Like this might be from the 40s or 50s. Like this looks super, super old. That footage of the dog looked like it could have been 70s or 80s, but this is way old. And the movement on this, yeah, I mean, come on. It's not moving like a dog. That is clearly
it's not
moving like a primate. Yeah. What do you think of that one, Christy? What's your take on that?
My take, the found footage stuff always scares me, but I don't break it apart like you do either.
Well, the audience is thinking it's a bear. They're saying, you know what? It looks like a bear to me. The movement on it in terms of the shoulders is what's kind of throwing me and making me think that it's more of a primate. But yeah, no, a bunch of the audience is saying bear. 100% a brown bear.
Let me tell you, the footage only gets worse. I tried so hard to find, and even the ones that I thought were pretty good were just, too violent or something for us to put up. Because there was, I forget what country it was that, they use nothing but machine guns and they shoot this werewolf and then they show it on the ground bleeding. They show it, on a gurney still breathing and all this other stuff. And I was like, ooh, I think that's a little much for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always like, ooh, look at the eyes glowing out there. It's a werewolf. Oh, something chased my car. Had to be a werewolf. I listen to that noise. It's a werewolf.
That's interesting that we don't have that trend with werewolves, because usually the red glowing eyes is something that comes up in these kind of supernatural forms of this nature, like Mothman.
And all the ones that I watched, none of them were red.
Yeah.
When their eyes glowed.
Yeah.
So I'm very disappointed in what the internet's offering us as legitimate footage. And I know that it will detract, from what people are trying to decide here. But, I got to show you what's out there. I don't think it takes from the legends, though, because like I said, every culture has certain myths, whether they're religion, wherever they are in the world, and they all speak to basic survival techniques. But there's always that grain of truth in that legend. And I think they're real.
That's where this is really a more compelling conversation than some of the other episodes in terms of like the thing that you touched on about the full moon and how people get affected by that. What
if they have diluted werewolf blood?
Is that in one of your romance books, Christy?
No, that was all me. That was all me.
Okay. Honestly, for this one, if I was able to vote, which unfortunately I'm not able to vote, it won't let me vote from here. There's enough going on with this that I think it's compelling and should be looked at more deeply. I would not say no to this necessarily, because of knowing there is that aspect of the full moon. There is that aspect, even in terms of what I was talking about with these kind of lessons that maybe it's not you losing control of yourself on a full moon. Maybe it's you losing control of yourself with alcohol or a substance or something like that. There's just very important things that key into our humanity in terms of this story. So yeah, for this one, interestingly, I might have just swung it for you because basically you were losing before I started my part of the talk, and now you're winning. And we're just going to go ahead and close it here. End the poll on Are Werewolves Real? 51% said yes. 48% said no. But I'm going to give it to you because I'm convinced that I would have voted for you on top of that. So
Because I deserve it.
you win this one, Christy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh no. Paranormal confirmed.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Jamie in the chat says, remember the movie Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox? Boy, do I.
Do you know, I tried to show that to Karis. John and I were like, oh, we were like, I can't remember. 10 minutes in, we were like, whoa.
Yeah. No, it's like
turn
kids
it off.
getting booze, and I'm sure not all the humor holds up. I haven't watched it in years, but
Well, it's a lot of young man humor and, boobs and stuff. And I was like, oh God, no, she's 9. Turn it off.
yeah, she might be a little young for that.
But I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. I did love it. It's definitely a big part of my childhood. I watched it a lot. And I can't believe, do you remember that they made a Saturday morning cartoon? As adult as you think that movie is, which there was certainly some pretty adult themes in it. They made a
That rings
Saturday
a
morning.
bell.
Yeah, they made a Saturday morning cartoon out of it, which I loved. I watched it all the time. But Christy, you won. You are the big winner for today. Congratulations. She works hard every week. It paid off. Big thank you to the audience for your vote here, and thank you for watching as well. Please join us again next week as we look into something else. She keeps pulling me back. Like I'm this is getting interesting.
A little bit at a time.
A little bit at a time. Are you taking the same ride I am? I'll see you guys next week. Say bye, Christy.
Bye-bye.
We'll catch you on the other side.